Every time I've gotten into an Uber, the Uber driver always feels obligated to tell me why they're driving for Uber. Kind of like a backroom casting couch, desperate for cash type vibe. And one time I decided to take advantage of that. And no, if you're an Uber type guy or a DoorDash type guy, I'm not knocking your hustle. Get your money. But there's some things we have to understand first. What you have to understand is if you're willing to ruin the most expensive item you own, which is your vehicle, for pennies on the dollar, you're also willing to break the law. You just haven't seen a great opportunity yet. That's where I come in. If you're my ex-Uber driver seeing this, just know that I love you and I'm sorry and everything happens for a reason. So one afternoon, I order a ride and the app tells me it'll be 15 minutes before my driver gets there. So I wait, and eventually he pulls up. So I open the door to his Pontiac or Pillmobile, whatever you want to call it, and I get in. And it's a young dude, younger than me. At this point, it's business as usual. I hop in and like the rest of them, he starts explaining to me why he drives for Uber, but it was the reason why that caught my eye. So after he gets off of his soapbox explaining to me why he drives for Uber, I decided to disarm him and tell him, look, dude, I messed up too. That's why I have to ride with you. And of course, that made him feel good, so he decided to go a little bit more in depth with me. He's like, look, man, I'm a trick. Then I cut him off. I'm like, hey, man, there's nothing wrong with it. We're all tricks in one way or the other, whether it's transactional, dates, text, we all do it. At that point, I confirmed my suspicions that he was indeed desperate for cash. I'm in the back seat behind the passenger side door because if they try anything funny, I want to be able to pop him in the head. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, hey, man, you want to be friends? And he was like, yeah. So I take his number down and I go where I need to go. Now, I started off small. Hey, man, I'll pay you for a ride. We don't even got to use the app. He said, bet. I did that a few times, and then that behavior had progressed into saying, hey, man, I'm not going with you, but I'm going to bring you this box. You take it to this address. He said, okay. Now, the first couple runs with my new best friend, the Uber driver, it was empty boxes. I was just seeing where this dude's heart was at. But the third time, I decided to put him on a real mission. So, boom, I send him with the box, and it gets to the destination. Everything's good. And before you call me a piece of crap, I only did this when I absolutely had to, so like 7 or 8 times a week. This is where details get a little blurred, but if I remember correctly, one day I'd send him off with the box and I thought it was business as usual. It turned out being the opposite. So he pulls off with the box and that is literally the last time I'd heard from this guy. I thought he had robbed me and that's fine. I was going to camp out for 40 days and 40 nights, but before I could do that, I got a knock at my door. I hear a doo-doo-doo. Open up, police. And I'm like, oh, great. I consider jumping out the back, but I don't because at this point in my life, I thought I was a master manipulator. I could just talk my way out of it. Keep in mind, I had no idea what they were at my door for. For all I knew, it was a barnyard sodomy case from 2012. I mean, I had no idea. They come in and then they're like, look, man, you're not in any trouble. We just got to ask you some questions. Get in these handcuffs and ride with us. I'm like, whoa, daddy. If I'm not in any trouble, why the handcuffs? She said, oh, don't worry about it. Just standard procedure. So it was right then I just knew I was going to jail, but they were already in my house. There was nothing I could do. They sit me alone in the interrogation room. They bring me a Winston 100 and a 4 for 4 from Wendy's. I think everything's going smooth, but then the detectives come in. They start asking me about my day and a bunch of irrelevant stuff, and then they hit me with it. Boom! They broke it down like this. They were like, look, old boy said that you sent him with the box, and the box just happened to have narcotics. And then they pull out a picture, and they go, do you recognize his face? And it's the guy. I'm like, hell, that guy? They're like, yeah. That guy's a well-known trick. He's probably a junkie. Hell, one of the girls he bought probably left it back there.